Japan's beauty masks deep fears, disasters, legends, and an aging population. Let's dive in. Imagine a country renowned for its breathtaking cherry blossoms, serene temples, and cutting-edge technology. Yet beneath this idyllic image lies an uncomfortable truth: pollution. It's a hidden struggle Japan faces every day, shaped by decades of rapid industrialization and urban sprawl. Let's dive into how this modern-day challenge unfolded and why it continues to haunt Japan. Take a look at this image. At first glance, it seems like a typical busy day in Japan, with crowds gathered for an event. But look closer. The woman in the foreground captures a moment of alarm. Is it the dense smog in the air, or perhaps an environmental demonstration unfolding behind her? Scenes like this are not uncommon in urban areas like Tokyo or Osaka, where air pollution often creates a hazy backdrop to everyday life. Japan's pollution issues stem from its post-war industrial boom. The nation's rise as an economic superpower during the mid-20th century transformed it into a hub of manufacturing and innovation. But the cost was severe. Factories dumped waste into rivers, emissions clouded city skylines, and ecosystems suffered. Today, Japan faces the lingering consequences of these actions. Urban centers wrestle with air and noise pollution, and the country struggles with an overwhelming reliance on single-use plastics. On top of this, Japan's coastal waters are choking with microplastics, a global crisis it is both a victim of and contributor to. While the government and industries have made strides in tackling these challenges, the road ahead remains steep. Now let's examine the specific environmental problems Japan faces and their lasting impacts. The environmental challenges in Japan span air, water, and land, creating a trifecta of concerns that the country cannot afford to ignore. Air pollution is one of the most visible problems. In cities like Tokyo and Osaka, smog often blankets the skyline, caused by vehicle emissions, industrial activity, and power generation. Though Japan has made efforts to reduce emissions, the rise of particulate matter still poses serious health risks. Seasonal yellow dust storms, carried from neighboring countries, exacerbate the problem, turning the air into an invisible hazard. Then there's water pollution, which paints a grim picture of contamination. Rivers and coastal waters suffer from industrial waste and agricultural runoff. Historically, cases like the Minamata disease, caused by mercury-laden wastewater from a chemical factory, shocked the world. Today, microplastics have infiltrated marine life, threatening ecosystems and fisheries crucial to Japan's food supply. Lastly, Japan's addiction to plastics remains a pressing concern. The country generates over 9 million tons of plastic waste annually, most of which comes from packaging. While Japan prides itself on its meticulous recycling culture, much of the plastic waste is either incinerated or shipped overseas. With stricter global regulations on waste exports, Japan faces the reality of dealing with its own trash pileup. Add to this the lingering issue of nuclear waste. Since the 2011 Fukushima disaster, managing radioactive materials has been a national headache. Debates rage over the disposal of treated wastewater from the site, with citizens in neighboring countries fearing contamination. The effects of pollution ripple far beyond the environment, deeply impacting the lives of the Japanese people and the nation's economy. On a personal level, pollution poses severe health risks. High levels of air pollution contribute to respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, particularly among children and the elderly. Microplastic contamination has even made its way into the food chain, raising concerns about long-term health implications for the population. Economically, the costs are staggering. Pollution-induced health problems put pressure on Japan's already strained healthcare system, while the need for cleanup and prevention measures drains government resources. Take Fukushima as an example. Cleaning up the nuclear disaster site is projected to cost over $200 billion and take decades to complete. Moreover, the environmental degradation has far-reaching effects on Japan's tourism and global reputation. Visitors expecting a pristine natural paradise may encounter polluted beaches and hazy skylines instead. Marine pollution also threatens Japan's fishing industry, a cornerstone of its culinary culture and export economy. Despite the challenges, Japan is making efforts to turn the tide. Initiatives like promoting renewable energy, reducing single-use plastics, and developing advanced recycling technologies are steps in the right direction. But the question remains, can Japan find a balance between progress and preservation before the scales tip too far? With these environmental issues setting the stage, we now move on to a deeper exploration of other fears gripping Japan. From natural disasters to societal concerns, the challenges only grow more complex. Japan's location along the Pacific Ring of Fire makes it a natural disaster hotspot, facing earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and typhoons. These events aren't just occasional tragedies, they're recurring threats that shape the nation's infrastructure, culture, and daily life. Earthquakes remain the most frequent and feared disasters. While many are minor, large-scale quakes like the 2011 Great East Japan earthquake demonstrate their devastating potential. This 9.0 magnitude quake triggered a tsunami, wiping out entire towns, killing nearly 20,000 people, and displacing hundreds of thousands. Adding to the devastation was the Fukushima nuclear meltdown, which brought long-term environmental and health consequences. Despite advanced earthquake-resistant architecture and emergency drills, the fear of another disaster like this looms large. Typhoons, another relentless threat, hit Japan's coasts regularly during the summer and fall. These powerful storms bring torrential rain, flooding, and destructive winds, often causing extensive property damage and disrupting transportation. In recent years, typhoons have become more intense, likely due to climate change. Typhoon Hagibis, in 2019 for instance, caused severe flooding and landslides, resulting in dozens of deaths and billions of dollars in damage. For coastal communities and urban areas alike, the typhoon season is a time of vigilance and anxiety. Volcanic eruptions add yet another layer of uncertainty. Japan is home to over 100 active volcanoes, and while eruptions are less frequent, they can be sudden and deadly. The 2014 eruption of Mount Ontake tragically killed 63 hikers, highlighting the unpredictability of these events. Japan monitors its volcanoes closely, but nature's timing remains uncontrollable. Preparedness is ingrained in Japanese culture, from evacuation drills to cutting-edge warning systems for earthquakes and typhoons. However, no matter how ready the country tries to be, the toll, physical, emotional, and financial, leaves scars that take years to heal. And it's not just nature that poses a looming threat to the nation's future. Beneath the surface, Japan grapples with another challenge, one that grows more pressing every day: its aging population. Japan's aging population is a slow-moving crisis with profound implications. Over 28% of the population is 65 or older, and this proportion is set to rise. With one of the world's lowest birth rates and high life expectancy, Japan faces a demographic time bomb that threatens its economy, healthcare system, and social fabric. The labor force is shrinking, putting immense pressure on the working-age population to support retirees through pensions and taxes. Meanwhile, healthcare systems are overwhelmed by the needs of the elderly, particularly in rural areas where younger generations have moved to cities. The shortage of caregivers has led to strained elder care facilities, with many seniors living in isolation or requiring costly round-the-clock care. Efforts to address the issue include encouraging older people to stay in the workforce and cautiously opening doors to immigration to fill labor gaps. However, cultural resistance to immigration and the physical limits of elderly workers complicate these solutions. The aging crisis isn't just about economics, it's also about loneliness and mental health. With fewer family members to care for them, many elderly face social isolation, creating a ripple effect of psychological and societal challenges. The fear of an unsustainable future weighs heavily on Japan as it navigates this profound transformation. As Japan grapples with its aging population, another shadow looms over its future: economic stagnation. Once a global economic powerhouse, Japan now finds itself in a prolonged period of slow growth, often referred to as the lost decades. This stagnation traces back to the early 1990s when an economic bubble burst, sending the nation into a deep recession. Despite efforts to recover, Japan's economy has struggled to regain its former momentum, creating a sense of unease that permeates both businesses and households. The effects of this stagnation are visible across society. Young people face limited job opportunities while wages have remained largely stagnant for years, making it harder for families to save or spend. This economic pressure exacerbates the already low birth rate, as younger generations feel they can't afford to have children. Meanwhile, businesses grapple with weak domestic demand and an aging workforce. Even Japan's famous tech and manufacturing sectors, once the envy of the world, face increased competition from rising economies like China and South Korea. A significant contributor to this stagnation is Japan's deflationary spiral, where declining prices lead to reduced consumer spending and investment. While falling prices might sound like a good thing, they discourage economic activity, creating a cycle that's difficult to escape. Government efforts, such as former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's Abenomics policies, aim to jumpstart the economy through fiscal stimulus and structural reforms. While these measures saw some initial success, they failed to deliver lasting growth. The fear isn't just about economic numbers, it's about the ripple effects on society. With a shrinking workforce and rising public debt, Japan's ability to maintain its social safety nets is under threat. At the same time, younger generations feel trapped, leading to growing disillusionment. This economic malaise is not just a problem of policy, but a challenge that affects the very fabric of Japan's society. Economic stagnation isn't the only stressor Japan faces. Its unique social challenges also weigh heavily on the population. One of the most well-known issues is overwork culture, or karoshi, which translates to death by overwork. This phenomenon, where individuals work excessively long hours at the expense of their health, has become a grim symbol of Japan's work ethic. Stories of exhausted employees collapsing or suffering from stress-induced heart attacks are a stark reminder of the toll this takes on mental and physical well-being. At the same time, Japan is witnessing a rise in social isolation. Terms like hikikomori, individuals who withdraw from society, often confined to their homes, and kodokushi, lonely deaths of isolated individuals, reflect a growing trend of detachment. With urbanization and shifting family dynamics, many people, particularly the elderly, find themselves living alone, disconnected from their communities. The intense focus on work and personal success has in many cases come at the cost of human connection. Additionally, Japan's youth face increasing pressure in an ultra-competitive educational and job market. This has led to high levels of stress, anxiety, and even depression among students and young adults. Meanwhile, women, despite significant contributions to the workforce, often struggle with entrenched gender norms that limit career opportunities and create barriers to achieving a work-life balance. The government and grassroots organizations are working to address these issues, from initiatives promoting work-life balance to programs aimed at reintegrating socially isolated individuals. However, change is slow, and societal expectations remain deeply ingrained. Together, these social challenges paint a picture of a nation at a crossroads, striving to balance tradition and modernity while addressing the human cost of its relentless pursuit of progress. Japan's technological advancements are a marvel of the modern world. From bullet trains to cutting-edge robotics, technology has helped address critical issues like the aging population and disaster response. Robots and AI assist in elder care and keep industries efficient, while advanced systems like earthquake alerts save lives. However, this progress comes with challenges. Automation and AI threaten to replace human jobs, creating uncertainty in the workforce. Cybersecurity has become a growing concern, with data breaches exposing vulnerabilities in a hyper-connected society. On a cultural level, technology amplifies social isolation, with virtual interactions sometimes replacing genuine human connection. Tokyo exemplifies this paradox, a city of dazzling neon lights and hyper-efficient systems, but also a symbol of the tension between progress and preserving humanity. Japan's ability to innovate remains a beacon of hope, but the nation must balance technological advancement with maintaining its human touch. Japan's struggles are undeniable, but they're only part of its story. These challenges highlight a nation that meets adversity with resilience and ingenuity. Now let's turn to a different side of Japan, one filled with fascinating history, traditions, and surprises that capture the imagination. From ancient customs to modern quirks, the next part celebrates the wonders of Japan, showcasing the spirit of a country that continues to inspire. Let's leave behind the challenges and explore the extraordinary aspects that make Japan truly unique. Queen Himiko's necromancy and the lost Yamatai kingdom. Shrouded in mystery, Queen Himiko of the Yayoi period, which was 300 BCE to 300 CE, was both a ruler and a shaman. Her kingdom, Yamatai, remains a historical enigma, with its location still debated. According to the records of the three kingdoms, Himiko wielded power through rituals and divination, reportedly using necromancy to connect with spirits. Under her reign, Yamatai flourished, even forging diplomatic ties with China's Wei dynasty, which bestowed upon her the title Queen of Wa. Himiko rarely appeared in public, delegating her duties to her brother while remaining in ritual seclusion. Her mystical leadership earned her reverence, but her death plunged Yamatai into chaos, with hundreds reportedly sacrificing themselves to join her in the afterlife. Was her power truly supernatural, or did it symbolize her people's deep spirituality? The secrets of Himiko and Yamatai remain lost to history, fueling endless fascination. The Tsuchigumo mythical spider demons in Japanese folklore. The Tsuchigumo, or earth spiders, are legendary creatures in Japanese folklore said to inhabit caves and mountains, luring victims into their venomous webs. Historically, the term Tsuchigumo also referred to outsider tribes who resisted imperial rule, but the name evolved into tales of monstrous spider demons. One famous legend tells of Minamoto no Yorimitsu, a Heian period samurai who battled a Tsuchigumo terrorizing Kyoto. After an intense fight, he slew the enormous spider, cementing its image as a symbol of deception and danger. These creatures embody ancient fears of hidden threats in the wilderness. Though no evidence of their existence remains, Tsuchigumo continue to haunt Japanese art and culture, illustrating how folklore reflects the fears and values of the past. Yurei ghosts that never leave. In Japanese folklore, few things are as haunting as yurei, ghosts bound to the physical world by unresolved emotions. Unlike the Western image of transparent spirits, yurei are vividly described, pale with flowing black hair and dressed in white burial robes. They are said to linger where their lives ended tragically, seeking vengeance, resolution, or peace. Their presence is often accompanied by a chilling silence, broken only by their mournful cries. One of the most famous yurei stories is that of Oiwa, a woman betrayed by her husband and poisoned, whose disfigured ghost haunts kabuki stages to this day. These spirits are not just tales to frighten, they reflect deeper cultural themes of loyalty, betrayal, and justice. Yurei are believed to be appeased only through specific rituals, such as omamori blessings or offerings at temples. This belief continues to influence Japanese spiritual practices, as many still leave gifts at roadside shrines to honor restless spirits. From folklore to modern horror films like The Ring, the Yurei persist as both a symbol of fear and a reminder of unresolved human ties. Kongo Gumi. From the spectral past to the tangible present, Japan boasts another marvel, Kongo Gumi, the world's oldest company. Established in 578 AD, this construction firm has an unparalleled history of craftsmanship. Its original purpose was to build temples, and its first commission was Shiten-no-ji, one of Japan's oldest Buddhist temples. For over 1400 years, Kongo Gumi adapted to changing times while preserving its traditions. A scroll listing 40 generations of family leaders showcases the company's commitment to legacy. Despite its longevity, economic struggles led Kongo Gumi to merge with a large corporation in 2006, but its name and expertise endure. The company's history reflects Japan's ability to balance innovation with reverence for the past, standing as a testament to resilience and adaptability. Kongo Gumi's work is woven into Japan's cultural fabric, with structures like Osaka Castle embodying both beauty and history. Katanas made from meteorites. Few symbols are as synonymous with Japan as the katana, but some of these legendary swords have an otherworldly origin. Rare katanas, such as the Tentetsu-2, meaning Sword of Heaven, were forged using meteoric iron, blending celestial material with earthly craftsmanship. Swordsmiths revered these extraterrestrial metals for their unique patterns, creating blades that were not only weapons but spiritual artifacts. Meteoric katanas symbolize a bond between heaven and earth, embodying samurai ideals of purity and strength. These swords were often used in rituals, their ethereal origins believed to confer divine blessings. The creation of such blades was a testament to the ingenuity of Japanese swordsmiths, who mastered techniques to work with the challenging properties of meteoric iron. Though few remain today, these swords are celebrated as rare works of art, bridging the cosmos and Japan's martial traditions, hygiene and social hubs. Moving from celestial swords to the everyday lives of Edo period Japan, communal bathhouses or sento were essential to both hygiene and society. These public baths were more than places to cleanse the body, they were vibrant social hubs where people of all classes mingled. For a modest fee, patrons could relax in hot water, sharing news, gossip and camaraderie in an era before modern conveniences. The design of sento was simple yet effective, featuring spacious tubs and decorative tiles. Bathhouses often displayed elaborate murals, such as Mount Fuji, to create a tranquil atmosphere. Hygiene was intertwined with spirituality, as purification rituals were deeply rooted in Shinto and Buddhist beliefs. Beyond cleanliness, sento fostered community bonds, breaking down social barriers in an egalitarian environment. Though modern bathhouses have evolved into luxurious spas, the spirit of sento lives on, preserving a slice of Japan's cultural identity. Strange laws of the Edo period. The Edo period from 1603 to 1868 was an era of peace, but it came at a cost, a rigid social order enforced by peculiar and restrictive laws. These laws, known as sumptuary regulations, dictated everything from clothing to daily behavior, aiming to maintain harmony and prevent displays of wealth that might upset the balance between classes. For example, commoners were forbidden from wearing extravagant silk garments, a privilege reserved for the samurai class. Even the colors one could wear were often restricted, with vibrant hues reserved for the elite. One particularly odd law banned meat consumption, as it was considered spiritually impure. Instead, fish and vegetables dominated the diet, shaping Japanese cuisine for centuries. Another law even required peasants to cultivate crops suited to their social rank. Such micromanagement extended to leisure as well. Kabuki theater performers had to follow strict rules about how and where they could perform. These laws reflect the Tokugawa shogunate's obsession with order, and while many seem absurd today, they reveal the priorities of a society striving for stability during an era of isolation and control. Cursed castles of feudal Japan. Amid the order of Edo society, Japan's feudal castles hold darker, more haunting stories. These architectural marvels, like Himeji Castle and Matsumoto Castle, were often scenes of betrayal, murder, and mysterious deaths, giving rise to chilling legends. Himeji Castle, also known as the White Heron, is said to be haunted by Okiku, a servant who was unjustly accused of theft and thrown into a well. Visitors to the castle claim to hear her mournful cries echoing at night. Matsumoto Castle, nicknamed the Crow Castle for its dark exterior, has its own eerie reputation. Stories tell of samurai spirits wandering its grounds, victims of violent feudal conflicts. These castles were more than fortresses. They were symbols of power, steeped in the bloody politics of their time. Today, while tourists admire their grandeur, the lingering ghost stories remind us that even the mightiest strongholds cannot escape the shadows of history. The height of people in ancient Japan. Stepping further back in time, the physical stature of ancient Japanese people reveals much about their daily lives and diets. Archaeological studies show that adults during the Jomon period from 4000 to 300 BCE averaged just over 5 feet in height, significantly shorter than modern Japanese people. This was largely due to their diet, which, while rich in seafood and nuts, lacked the agricultural variety introduced later. By the Yayoi period from 300 BCE to 300 CE, when rice farming became widespread, nutrition improved slightly, but height remained relatively unchanged. Interestingly, these shorter statures were not considered a disadvantage. Ancient Japanese communities valued agility and endurance, traits well suited to their environment. The introduction of Western food and medicine in the 19th century contributed to the growth spurt seen in modern times. Examining the height of ancient Japanese people gives us a fascinating glimpse into how diet, environment, and cultural values shaped the human body over centuries. For over 2 centuries, from 1639 to 1853, Japan implemented a policy known as sakoku, or closed country. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan cut itself off from the rest of the world, restricting foreign trade and contact to the island of Dejima in Nagasaki, where Dutch and Chinese merchants operated under strict supervision. The aim was to protect Japan from foreign influences that could disrupt its culture and social order, particularly the spread of Christianity. This isolation had unexpected consequences. While Japan missed the Industrial Revolution sweeping the West, it preserved its cultural identity, developing unique art forms like ukiyo-e woodblock prints and kabuki theater. However, sakoku also bred curiosity. When Commodore Perry arrived in 1853 with American warships, Japan's isolation abruptly ended, and the country rapidly modernized, blending its preserved traditions with new technologies. The sakoku period stands as a remarkable example of both the risks and rewards of self-imposed seclusion. That's about it. Write in the comments which facts seemed the most unusual to you. For more useful information, watch other videos.